What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Look, I apologize for the lighting of this video. It's evening time, just getting off from work, picking the kids up from practice, and just getting to the crib. I was on YouTube listening to some content, and I stumbled across a topic on YouTube right now. Surrounding jobs and people quitting jobs not hiring, things of that sort. And being a newly owned business owner, I guess, being a new business owner, I feel like I can add something to this topic. And I see a lot of people talking about the particular video that I watched was talking about why jobs are not hiring, like, why people can't find jobs. And she was talking about the fact that the middle class people are the ones that are struggling, people who have sought out higher education, who have bachelor's degrees, who are overly qualified, who meet the demands of the job, but for whatever reason they're not the ones being hired. And I thought that was a pretty interesting video because she hit on a lot of different things that I found interesting, and that being one of the things. And what I'm figuring out now that I'm actually in the process of hiring employees is, the reason that I believe that to be, and my earbud about to go dead, so the audio's pitch is probably going to change. But the reason for that, I believe, is it's not that jobs are just not wanting to hire people. I think the economy is so bad, dog. The economy is so bad that a job can't afford to hire a qualified applicant. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't afford to give you a certain pay because the company itself, especially like small business, what I am is considered a small business, the business that I have, just based on the size, not the industry, but based on the size of, number of employees, number of clients served. Right now, I have a small business. And, when I think about hiring employees, one of the things that I consider is cost of living. You want to be able to pay someone competitively, but you want to be able to pay someone a livable wage, and right now, because of the economy, dog, and because of the cost of everything, interest rates are up, cost of rent, just everything, man, groceries, gas, a lot of factors play into the wage that you decide to pay your employees. Obviously, you're trying to compete, for the employees that are going to do a good job, because ultimately your business, your company relies on how well you can train your employees and the, quality of employees that you're getting, right? So you want to pay a wage that's competitive in your market. But the problem is that the owner, so you have, just using this for an example, you have your CEO, right? Your CEO has their own financial obligations. So with the pay, the amount of money that I'm paying you as an employee, you know what I'm saying, is basically budgeted in minus all of the operational costs, payroll costs. You might have a payroll service, right? So you got to pay that. Your industry may require background checks. You got to pay for that. You dig? Drug screening, you got to pay for that. And then whatever marketing stuff that you have, whether it's shirts that they get, badges, got to pay for that. And then, payroll is a monthly expense. You know what I'm saying? So some payroll services charge a monthly fee and a cost per employee. You know, so it's like $12 a month for each employee, and then $80 a month for the service, right? So then you got your operational costs for whatever commercial space you have, you know, and all of that stuff, man. There's a lot of factors that play into your budget as a CEO or business owner. So then you got to factor in your staff. And, you know, some of these jobs are paying 14, 15 an hour, and they're having to lay off those middle layers of their business, right? So back when the cost of living was cheaper and things were a lot less expensive, you can afford to have a manager, you know, a supervisor, you know, and you was able to afford to have those layers between the CEO and your employees, you know, the direct care or, you know, entry level employees. But now there's a crunch happening, right? Now your CEO is experiencing lows when it comes to their take home. You know what I'm saying? So in order to financially support themselves, they now have to eliminate those layers up under them. You know, of course, you're going to need workers because you got, you know, whatever industry, based on the industry you in, you know, you got products that need to be sold. You got, you know, supervision needs, the direct care supervision needs. You know, and so then you looking at, okay, I can afford to cut out some of those middlemen, some of the house managers, right? Or the hourly managers, right? You can afford to cut out maybe a salary manager, you know what I'm saying, or a supervisor. So you're looking at where you can make those cuts so you as the CEO can maintain your life, right? Because you get to make those decisions. So that's why the economy is why a lot of these jobs, dog, they can't afford to hire the overly qualified worker, you know, the degree having worker that's gonna come in and based on their experience and their accolades may require, you know, at minimum a pay above above grade pay that you as the CEO, as the company, the owner, you can't afford to hire them, dog. You know what I'm saying? You can't afford to hire them. So it's like you'll rather, as a CEO, you'll rather step in and do more work, right? So you can take more of that money. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, a lot of these people who have degrees don't have nowhere to go. So the next thing I want to tell y'all, one of the things that I've learned, dog, is to know the industry. How do I put this? The industry that you've been in the longest, that is the industry that you need to open a business in. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are spending time looking for jobs to make money instead of looking for jobs to create a lane for themselves, dog. I wish I'd have been thinking about this prior to, you know what I'm saying? I was at a job for 10 years. That 10 years, that experience that I accumulated over that time made what I decided to do so easy, dog. You know, learning business is something that you can learn business academically, but it's different when you running a business, right? But as far as understanding and knowing your industry that you in, if you've worked in that industry, you have a good understanding and you've accumulated a ton of knowledge, something that you probably don't even realize about said industry. You know, I spent the majority of my life playing sports, man. I wanted to play basketball. That was what I did every day of my life. You know what I'm saying? So opening and starting a business wasn't the goal, but it became the goal. So my message to y'all out there, dog, if you've been working at a job 4 or 5 years, bro, start take that egg and put it in your basket, bro. That's a good opportunity for you to navigate through that industry. You must be good at it if you've been doing it for 5 years, 4 to 5 years plus. You've been doing the same thing over and over for 5 years. You've been building someone else's company. You know what I'm saying? You might as well take that information that you learned from that organization and go build your own company. And then those hours that you putting in You know what I'm saying? You putting in to build something for you, build something for your family, dog. You know what I'm saying? And that's the message to everybody, dog. Bruh, don't waste time working every day. And I get it's a lot of responsibility, but you really don't have a choice, dog. You might as well do some type of ownership for yourself to really make the money that you really need to make to really survive out here and live a decent life, dog. You know what I'm saying? I get it. Everybody having a business and running a business is not for everybody, dog. But why allow? Because I mean, look at it like this: is the safety and security of a job worth it these days, bro? Is it really worth it? You know, is the safety and security of a job really worth it these days, bro? The amount of money that you getting paid, is you able to go buy you a house, get a decent car that you a car that you want? You know what I'm saying? Are you still paycheck to paycheck? I know I was making damn near $30 an hour, dog, and it still felt like I was only making 20. Like, you know, when you hear $30 an hour, you thinking like, damn, you making money. But at the time, things were so expensive, dog. You know, it was like